In every royal story, the line between love and duty is often blurred. The tale of Charles, Camilla, Andrew, and Diana is no exception, capturing global attention for decades. To truly understand it, we must revisit the beginning, where quiet encounters shaped the destiny of Britain's monarchy. Today, thanks to digital archives and AI-powered restoration, we can access rare photographs, audio recordings, and even interactive timelines that recreate those pivotal moments. This blend of history and technology allows us to connect with the past more vividly than ever before, setting the stage for our journey ahead. To understand the depth of this royal saga, we must step back to the early 1970s, a time when Britain was undergoing social change and the monarchy was carefully guarding its traditions. It was in this environment that Camilla Shand, a young woman of charm and wit, became entangled in a complex web of relationships that would ultimately shake the foundations of the crown. Camilla's path first crossed with Charles, the young Prince of Wales, at a polo match in 1971. Their chemistry was undeniable, and for a brief period it seemed as though Charles had found his perfect companion. Yet tradition weighed heavily on the future king. The royal family expected him to marry someone considered suitable, ideally a woman of aristocratic background, untainted by past relationships, and able to embody the image of a flawless princess. Camilla, despite her intelligence and popularity, did not fit this mold. During Charles's service with the Royal Navy, Camilla's life took another turn. She reconnected with Andrew Parker Bowles, a cavalry officer known for his charisma and adventurous spirit. Andrew, already part of the social elite, was close to the royal family and had a reputation as both a skilled soldier and a ladies' man. Their on-and-off romance finally culminated in marriage in 1973, celebrated with pomp and excitement. Yet even on that day, whispers circulated. Some believed Camilla's heart still lingered with Charles. Transitioning from the glamour of their wedding to the reality of married life, cracks began to appear. Andrew's military career often kept him away from home, and Camilla's lingering connection with Charles became an open secret among the aristocracy. While Andrew was admired for his confidence and independence, he was also known for his own extramarital affairs, which complicated the picture even further. Their marriage, though outwardly stable, carried the seeds of quiet discord. What makes this period particularly fascinating today is how technology allows us to revisit it with new clarity. Through digitized letters, photographs, and newspaper clippings, historians and researchers can reconstruct a far more detailed timeline of events than was possible decades ago. For instance, digital text recognition technology can scan fragile archival documents, letters once hidden in dusty boxes, and make them searchable within seconds. Artificial intelligence can restore faded images from the 1970s, bringing back the vibrancy of Camilla's early life and the solemn grandeur of her wedding to Andrew. Interactive digital maps now allow us to trace Andrew's military postings alongside key royal events, offering a more immersive understanding of how personal choices intersected with public duty. This technological lens doesn't just give us sharper images, it transforms our comprehension. We can now see how the early decisions of Camilla and Andrew, preserved in both personal archives and public records, set the stage for the dramatic entanglements that followed. It is a reminder that history is not only written by memory, but also reconstructed through innovation. And so, as their marriage unfolded, the story of Camilla and Andrew was no longer theirs alone. It was becoming part of a larger narrative that would soon include Diana, Charles, and the destiny of the crown. With this foundation laid, we move next into the era where passion, duty, and betrayal collided head-on. As the 1970s gave way to the 1980s, the personal lives of the royal family increasingly collided with public expectation. Prince Charles, now under mounting pressure to settle down, faced the most important decision of his life, choosing a bride. The monarchy, still cautious about image and tradition, sought a woman who embodied innocence, youth, and the potential to become the perfect future queen. This search led Charles to Lady Diana Spencer, a shy young woman from a respected aristocratic family. At first glance, the union seemed like the fulfillment of a fairy tale. Diana was admired for her beauty, kindness, and natural elegance, while Charles, as heir to the throne, appeared ready to fulfill his destiny with a supportive partner by his side. Their 1981 wedding was watched by an estimated 750 million people worldwide, a broadcast that cemented Diana as the people's princess even before she had truly entered the role. Yet behind the dazzling ceremony and global celebration, cracks were already forming. Charles's unresolved feelings for Camilla lingered like a shadow over the marriage. Diana, sensitive and perceptive, soon realized she was competing with someone who had never truly left Charles's heart. This emotional triangle created an undercurrent of tension that no public appearance or royal duty could conceal forever. As Diana's popularity grew, she and Charles increasingly seemed out of sync. While the public adored her warmth and vulnerability, Charles often appeared withdrawn, perhaps even resentful of her instant stardom. What makes this period particularly striking today is how technology allows us to compare public image with private reality. Using AI-powered sentiment analysis, historians and researchers can now study archived interviews, speeches, and letters to uncover the subtle emotional cues hidden in Diana's words. For instance, transcripts of her early interviews can be processed by algorithms that detect hesitation, tone, or repeated phrases that reveal unspoken anxieties. Meanwhile, digital restoration has breathed new life into documentary footage from the 1980s. What once appeared grainy on old VHS tapes now plays in high definition, enabling viewers to notice the fleeting expressions, Diana's nervous smiles, Charles's moments of discomfort that foreshadowed deeper struggles. In addition, virtual reality reconstructions have given audiences a way to relive the spectacle of the royal wedding from multiple vantage points. Rather than relying solely on televised angles, VR technology lets us stand virtually in Westminster Abbey, feeling the immensity of the event, while also appreciating how overwhelming it must have been for a 20-year-old bride. These innovations highlight the duality of Diana's experience, the breathtaking glamour on one side and the crushing personal isolation on the other. As the 1980s progressed, the royal couple's fractures widened. Diana's charm drew people closer, but her confessions of loneliness hinted at the storm ahead. Charles, torn between duty and personal longing, could not reconcile the competing forces in his life. The fairy tale, once believed to be a symbol of stability for the monarchy, was unraveling before the world's eyes. This chapter, more than any other, reveals how appearances can be deceiving. And as we transition to the next stage of the story, the private pain of Diana and the unresolved bond between Charles and Camilla would soon erupt into public scandal, reshaping not only their lives but the very perception of the monarchy itself. By the early 1990s, the illusion of a stable royal marriage had shattered. What had once been whispered in elite circles now spilled into public view, creating one of the most dramatic scandals in modern royal history. The carefully maintained facade of unity between Charles and Diana could no longer withstand the strain of mistrust, emotional distance, and secret affairs. The media, emboldened by growing public curiosity, began exposing intimate details of the royal couple's struggles. Tabloid headlines chronicled Diana's unhappiness, Charles's lingering attachment to Camilla, and Andrew Parker Bowles's reputation as a womanizer. What had been discreetly hidden in the 1970s and 1980s now became unavoidable headlines consuming global attention. One of the most infamous turning points came in 1992 with the release of Andrew Morton's book, Diana: Her True Story. Based on secretly recorded interviews with Diana herself, the revelations were shocking: her struggles with bulimia, suicide attempts, and a marriage plagued by betrayal. For the first time, the public saw past the fairy tale and into the raw human suffering behind palace walls. Just months later, the Camilla Gate scandal erupted when a leaked phone call between Charles and Camilla revealed their deeply personal and intimate conversations. Overnight, the monarchy was thrust into a media storm unlike anything it had faced before. Transitioning from scandal to consequence, the royal family struggled to preserve its image. Queen Elizabeth II, usually silent on private matters, was forced to respond to the growing public dissatisfaction. By 1992, famously described by the Queen as her annus horribilis, the marriages of her children were collapsing and public faith in the monarchy was wavering. Diana and Charles formally separated, though they continued to appear together when duty demanded. Looking back today, technology plays a critical role in revisiting and reinterpreting this turbulent period. Digital forensics has been applied to verify and preserve the authenticity of leaked recordings, such as the Camillagate tapes, ensuring that what the world heard in the 1990s remains accessible in its original unaltered form. Data visualization tools now allow historians to map the timeline of media coverage, showing how quickly stories about Charles, Diana, and Camilla spread across continents decades before social media amplified scandals in real time. Moreover, AI-driven media analysis can compare how different outlets framed the scandals. By processing thousands of newspaper articles, algorithms reveal biases. Some tabloids vilified Diana as unstable, while others painted her as a victim of an unloving marriage. These insights help modern audiences understand how public perception was shaped not just by events themselves, but by the way information was packaged and delivered. Perhaps most fascinating digital archives now allow us to listen again to the very interviews and tapes that shook the monarchy. Combined with modern audio enhancement technology, Diana's voice, once faint and recorded in secrecy, now resonates with clarity, making her story even more poignant. Technology in this sense does not rewrite history. It amplifies the voices once silenced or overshadowed. As we move forward, the scandals of the early 1990s remind us that the monarchy is not immune to human flaws. And yet, in the midst of turmoil, Diana's courage in speaking her truth reshaped how the public viewed royalty no longer as untouchable figures, but as deeply human individuals, navigating love, betrayal, and survival under the harshest spotlight in the world. As the 1990s progressed, the marriage between Charles and Diana moved beyond repair. In 1996, after years of public tension and private suffering, the couple officially divorced. The separation, while painful, allowed Diana to step out of the shadow of the royal institution and redefine her role on the global stage. Freed from many of the formal constraints of monarchy, she dedicated herself fully to humanitarian causes, becoming an international symbol of compassion and courage. Diana's advocacy was groundbreaking. She drew worldwide attention to the HIV/AIDS crisis, challenging stigmas by holding hands with patients at a time when fear and misinformation ran rampant. She walked through minefields in Angola, captured in images that remain some of the most iconic of the late 20th century. Her ability to connect emotionally with ordinary people, regardless of status or nationality, redefined what it meant to be a people's princess. Yet while Diana's public life flourished, her private world remained under relentless media scrutiny. Paparazzi trailed her every move, creating an atmosphere of intrusion that would ultimately contribute to tragedy. In August 1997, Diana died in a car crash in Paris alongside Dodi Fayed while being pursued by photographers. The news stunned the world, sparking unprecedented grief. Millions gathered outside Kensington Palace, laying flowers, candles, and letters. It was one of the most profound moments of collective mourning in modern history. Here, technology plays an essential role in both preserving and revisiting Diana's legacy. Digital archiving projects ensure that the countless images, news reports, and personal letters from the weeks after her death remain accessible for future generations. Through AI-powered analysis, researchers have studied the global reaction by processing millions of online messages, newspaper clippings, and TV broadcasts from 1997. The results highlight how Diana's death was one of the first truly global news events uniting people across continents in real time. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss out on the latest updates. Stay tuned, and we'll see you in the next video.